Good evening and welcome, Rando fans, to the Free Enterprise race on Randomania 2. Tonight we have a run between Possumorpheus and Sorbius to break the 1-1 run with victory.
Oh, I think we lost Dassus there.
My name is Athos, and I'm joined here by Bad Karma. Lali-Ho, good friend.
Lali-Ho! We lost you there for a little bit, but yeah, we have Possumorpheus going 1-1 against Sorbius, also 1-1. Do you want to thank our restreamer, Crimson Mavix, for putting on this, and for Dijon Ketchup doing the tracking for us? How are these objectives looking to you, Davos?
I'm so happy. Let's go do us some giant grind, and no, really, let's head up there. That is something that I've seen has not been touched. That vanilla giant flag really deterring people away from it. So if we actually do have to go up there, considering we do have a boss and a character hunt, very low odds of it happening, but there is that possibility of both objectives being up there.
Yeah, that new vanilla giant flag has been deterring a lot of people because a lot of people in the previous tournaments just like to get that tele, get that food, get the week, bop into the giant, do their grind, and get out. But with this vanilla giant flag, you had to actually complete the entire giant. Those two boss fights are no slouch, depending on who rolls there. And you don't want to be stuck in there with something that even post-grind you're going to have a hard time with.
Exactly. And the big thing is you're trying to find your grind or people to do with it too. And Eddy Start offers a whole lot of options. You have the options of your reflex strats, sorry, not reflex strats, your Eddy strats on several different bosses. You have Odin, you have Evil Wall, you even have Zeromus for that. If the runners are very versed in those. I don't know personally if they are. He's a very versatile, yet also very weak character. The only real thing that sets him apart in the early game right now is the fact that we do have the spoon flag on, so he can be a monster truck of a DPS. However, he's also absolutely frail.
Yeah, and with another new flag that we had for the Lali-Ho League in 4.2, it's the C Neki flag. So this Edward is actually only going to start off with a random tier 1 to tier 3 weapon. Would not be surprised to see a little bit extra early looting, maybe a little extra shopping, maybe trying to find a dancing dagger to get this Eddy to be, actually useful to the group early on. Otherwise, if he rolls something that's like a silver knife or something like that, or even one of his harps, he may not be able to help out the team all that much.
No, absolutely not. The nicest thing you'd want to see on him would be like maybe a Porum or a Rosa with a power staff, and then him holding a bow so that at least he can give them back row access so that they can kind of carry the early bits of the seed. Something like that would be great. But yeah, as you're talking about C Neki, not only do we have that as a detriment, we also have T Wildish, but with the caveat of T max tier 6, meaning that we won't find those crystal swords, we won't find those dragoon lances out in the wild. We will still find them in key item locations, but they will not be in the traps. And there's a lot of good items still in that T6 though. There's heroin robes, there's white spears, there's still lightsabers out in the wild, and I think even a Murasame can still appear out there too. So a lot of nice stuff is out there, even with the good T7 loot being blocked in this T Wildish.
Yeah, and we do have a Kanan seed, obviously, with him as one of our objectives. Defender is also available to be out there. Watery Pass has been a very well-traveled spot for our runners in the tournament so far. It looks like we are actually getting underway as well. We'll see you be joining this Bard.
Yeah, this is where a lot of the seed is going to be kind of shown off. We have Edward. We have that is a really good character. Yeah. And that's an Odin giving out the past. So, we have a way to the moon real early. Those low-level strats could be a thing. So the really nice thing, Karma, what's the reason why I'm so happy for us to see a Sid this early on?
Another of the 4.2 changes is the expansion of the kits that we get, the item kits. And one of the kits is the Dwarf kit, which gives us 10 rune rings, a wizard hat, wizard robe, a dwarf axe, and a strength ring. Sid can equip both of those right out of the gate, which makes him hit really hard. He's going to be slow, but he only needs a couple hits on like Antlion and the Hobbs boss to really get you through those early fights.
Absolutely, yeah, he will hit hard. He's also going to get that back row access. And the really nice thing about this dwarf axe is we know King is in the seed, Warp Axe is also the only item to give him back row access. So that is a great thing to find and have out of the way right there. Speaking of finding, we have our runners with some early divergence already, looting up in different areas. Possumorpheus finding themselves in Elven Bow, and Sorbius actually finding a Gaia drum in Baron. That's going to be great for some early bosses.
Yeah, and that Rydia is just hanging out with a Lunar Sparkle there in the Baron Inn. May not be back there right away, but that is Rydia has a lot of uses early on if we get the levels, or just keep her around and knock her down to be that really low agility anchor. Possum just found a lightsaber as well.
I don't know if you also saw it was on Sorbius' side as well. There are exits for sale in Baron.
Oh,
those
that's
are
nice.
Great to have this early on. Sell a couple of those rune rings as you've seen them do. Pick up maybe 2 exits. This allows you to loot even further into the Watery Pass because you can go all the way to the end, exit out, right back, and that's probably the most treasure-dense area. Wow, and that Sid coming with a bow and arrows right off the bat. That is great if we find ourselves another melee character.
Yeah, and that was charm arrows too. Those are really, and a
dancing dagger. Holy! All right, here's a spicy start.
Yeah, that I will say though, on Sorbius' side, that Rosa looks a little strange though. I mean, I've never seen her with that much of a bushy beard.
Look, man, COVID's taken a toll on all of us. Maybe she's just not shaving till somebody wins Lali-Ho League. We do have a second Rydia here, up on Hobbs, guarded by one of the Baron guards. No, it's guarded by the officers from Kaipo. So this is a really quick fight and a great place to use that Gaia drum.
Yeah, and that's going to make really short work. There's not a lot of XP here, even though we do have the life glitch turned on. Not enough really here to warrant spending the extra time to kind of life glitch this officer, get through it quick, get this Rydia, maybe get down the other side of the mountain to get that free summon and the loot on the other side.
Yeah, and the only disappointing part about Rydia joining is she only had a regular staff. Unfortunate for her item-wise, but still great to have her as a pickup. She loses a little bit of value considering you cannot slingshot her. That is another one of the flags that have been added into this new 4.0 round after the beta came out. This one is no slingshot, so no double XP if they're falling behind. So there is that option as well. And man, did you see the loot back there?
This is why you should loot the back of Hobbs if you have a way to exit out of there. I've had a number of seeds in various formats where the back of Hobbs has paid off. I think actually in a dark matter hunt once, there was 2 pieces of dark matter back there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of looting the back of Hobbs personally because it's a spot where not a lot of people like to go. It is a little bit out of the way and it is kind of unfortunate if you just have to walk there and walk back. But I've found that loot has just been anecdotally higher than what's actually listed. Not exactly what you want to see as the free summon. It's Asura. Rydia can act as a pseudo healer at that point. But Sorbius is like, no, maybe come back here later for that. For right now, I'm going to be going down an Antlion while we have Possumorpheus finishing up that guard fight.
Yeah, even though defeating Asura is our objective, that is not the form that you wanted to see Asura show up in.
Just a little taunting. Maybe Asura's even down here. We don't know, but we will find out in a few minutes. Mute arrows to find as well to go with that Elven Bow that we know is in the seed. Very nice for anti-mages, which is what we're looking for here.
Oh, there's some early money with a crystal armor if we don't find that Cecil, or even if you do. A lot of people just tend to sell those. They are worth quite a bit, despite being a very high defensive piece of gear.
Yeah, it can work really well if you're in a punchy boss spot and you just want to have Cecil cover and do those kind of strats if possible. But right now, we do know that we're only going to have distinct 10, so there are going to be characters that will not be appearing. Cecil could be not appearing in this seed. There are a number of characters that you would love to see, but sometimes don't come around. And it's always had to have that crystal sword, hold on to it for finding a Cecil, and then you just don't. Possumorpheus also seeing that Asura saying, nah, I'll take this later. While Sorbius... No.
Of all the times to find Golbez, though, this is a good one. Not even going to lose a character here.
Yeah, Hamas appearing. Very quick to get that hide off. Very nice. Means that we're not going to have anybody go down. It's just going to be the quick reflect. If I remember correct, the magic spot here the spot is fairly low. And yeah, Sid not even taking it because of that crystal ring.
Yeah, Sid is just going to brush this off. Even with the spells hitting him, couple hits with the Dwarf Axe, Dancing Dagger from the Rydia, we should be through this pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Both runners converging doing this fight. Both runners actually getting the hide off. And we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, Possumorpheus showing off a little something, throwing the Elven Bow and the white arrows onto Golbez. Golbez does have a holy weakness, so this Sid is actually going to be doing some pretty decent damage here.
Indeed. And the nice thing is being in that top area on Possumorpheus' side and in the middle for Sorbius mean that they're going to get increased damage because of those higher accuracy that they'll have. Whereas we have Sorbius's Eddie come out and then just like, no, I'm out of here.
Yeah, interesting move by Sorbius, making sure to keep this Edward alive, maybe really hoping for a spoon here. Possumorpheus doing the same thing. Both Rydias are down.
Indeed. They can get some more XP later on. This isn't a spot where it's a great amount of XP, but our first official key item of the seed is in fact a Baron key. That's a nice little double whammy you want to see.
Yeah, and the Baron key has paid off in a number of races, especially in recent weeks, this week and last week. It always seems like at least one objective of some kind has been showing up in Baron. There's 3 bosses there, a character check, 2 key items. There's a lot to do with that Baron key.
Absolutely, and you can cash it in a little bit later after you do Hobbs, maybe after you get the other character. But knowing that it's another Rydia, I can understand them not wanting to go and do Baron proper. But instead, Sorbius is going over next door and following semi-logical story progression, and gonna get us a look at what's happening in Fabul.
Yeah, this has been popping up a little bit more. During Highway to the Three Zone, we saw a lot of people fading Fabul for a number of various reasons, trying to limit the number of trips into Fabul. But we are seeing runners, kind of favor this a little bit more. This is a good high XP spot, and I really feel like it's that no slingshot flag, trying to get these characters online. Some of these weaker characters that normally we didn't, carry through in Threemus, we're having to take through our seeds now. So this is adding Fabul up there, I think.
Absolutely. And I think another reason being is, as you were saying, you got some weaker characters. You're not quite confident in their abilities to go run up ordeals or something like that. We haven't found a summon for Rydia. We haven't found a decent rod for her. So she's kind of just like here with that dancing dagger right now, as we see on Sorbius' side. We do have Thor Rages and Starveils in Fabul proper, which is not bad to find as a set of items.
Yeah, we do want to, I believe, Sorbius used the Starveil on that Golbez. I don't think Possumorpheus did, but we want to make sure we have a healthy supply. We still have a number of root bosses out there where the Starveils are going to be really useful.
Absolutely. And the reward for Fabul is just a sword, not the black sword that you would like to see here if you were looking for some vanilla. Excuse me. But
Why would you want vanilla, Daphis?
Because it is delicious ice cream and you will enjoy it. Also, some good points coming out in the chat from David Copperall and Oscar Edwin. The free heal here is very good, especially after watching your characters go down in Antland. So you can get the full heal here, and then kind of diverge out and say, okay, where am I going to go from here? Am I going to go over to do Mount Ordeals? Are we going to maybe chase that Baron key? Are we going to go and take a look at who's in the Baron Inn behind that Sparkle? Because with the weapons that we have here and with the Thor Rages, that Odin becomes completely free with Eddie.
Yeah, and you'll notice that Sorbius just picked up a Mute Knife. I believe Possumorpheus did the same thing. That's going to be huge if we find the Sasura maybe on Ordeals. That Mute Knife will do 4 times damage. I know Eddie likes to wield it. Edge will like to wield it, even a Kane if we can find him. So that's a huge pickup for them, knowing that we've got this required Asura at some point.
Absolutely. And with Rydia here, she can also wield it as well. And additionally, the fact that we did see, I believe, that heroin robe, I could have been wrong, in Watery Pass, that means that she can do a truck of damage early. She is nothing to scoff at for her physical attack.
Yeah, and unfortunately, both of our runners are choosing to keep Rydia down, so they're going to want to use her for anchoring purposes and not for hitting things. But we'll see if their mindset changes depending on how some of this loot shakes out, if they get a good summon or not.
Indeed, and as we see here, we've also got the access of the Mute Arrows and Mute Daggers, so we have 2 of 3 people being able to do 4 times damage to mages. And Sorbius is like, I'm not happy with the equipment I've got because I've got no armor whatsoever. As the weapon shop NPC trolled him a little.
Almost
Man,
got Sorbius to come back there too with ninja hats there in the armor shop.
oh
Dragon
man,
Whip.
Dragon Whip and Mute Arrows. That's a shop you like to see. You'd rather see that Dragon Whip out in the middle of nowhere. But speaking of out nowhere, that is a free sparkle. That is the Plague fight. You would rather see that anywhere else, maybe even on the other side of this fight. But we're about to see a quick little bop through and go on through. Possumorpheus is saying, nope, Rydia, no XP for you. Whereas Sorbius, instead of doing the inn, is going Baron proper, or at least looting the Watery Pass.
Finding another crackle. I think that's the second one we've seen.
I believe he'd be correct. So if we see a Yang, he is going to be trucking up some damage once he gets some levels under his belt. Catclaw being his best weapon with strength and agility on it, adding in those multipliers. Ooh, this is not a you want to see
that
here.
No. Although back row Sid with the gear that we have, he should be all right. I believe Possum Sid is using Dwarf Axe plus a shield, so probably won't take as much damage. But that's a good guide drum used right there.
That's a very good guide drum. Even Eddie not going down in a single hit. Yeah, Ed, we're gonna have a nice quick fight here. 2 guide drums should put them down, considering the HP here is 2,000 split 3 ways. Yeah, second guide drum takes him down. Nice and quick. Very, very heads up from Possum not spending that second guide drum early. We're going to see his reward is Hook. We have Underground and another character check.
Yeah, there's can be a number of rude things with this double Rydia Edward, Sid. This is not the most ideal team that you really want to take down the Hook route.
Absolutely not. But we do have the Mute Knives, and so we can at least go and do some Ogres, and especially with those Rune Rings, Rydia will be able to survive a good hit from them. So the Mad Ogre chest is absolutely on the table.
Yeah, both of them. Don't forget, there's the other one in the Eblin Castle as well.
That corrected me. I meant to say 4K. If I said 2K, I apologize. It is 4K split 3 ways.
Yeah, I always... All my math HP numbers are just ballparks anyway.
I do remember numbers here and there, but I mean, not a mathematician. I just play one on TV.
Yeah, just a Dark Elf hanging out in the Mist Cave.
Exactly. It's a boss you don't mind seeing out of the way. Can be really rude in a lot of different spots, especially in that Hook route. Whereas we're getting another look at a second boss, and that is...
More guards.
More guards. So that is another free boss out. You'd love to see it, considering that means that we're going to have a lot more rude bosses in later locations. And I am 100% here for this.
I commentated one of a seed a couple weeks ago, and this came true. I'm going to try and channel it again. I want Kain and Asura in the Giant. We want a hard required Giant, chat.
Look, I'm here for this.
Because you and I both know, Dathis, that will be the last check.
Oh yeah, as we've said, Baron with the vanilla Giant on, it is one of the last checks you really want to do. But speaking of checks, we have 2 different ones going on here. Baron Key actually coming up. There's our Asura, while we had Possumorpheus going to be dipping that Hook route.
Sometimes the commentator gives, and sometimes the commentator just, strikes out.
Yeah, you tried to call your shot, not this time, unfortunately. So maybe we can have Kain in a really rude spot, and we have Demas back there. It is still possible. But yeah, we have a boss that is going to be very short work. The only thing is how is Sorbius going to approach this? Are we going to get a life lock? Or are we going to see double reflect? From the waiting, I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting a life lock here.
Yeah, that would definitely be the safe way to go. And the Skylar Kitty in chat pointing out earlier, as we did earlier in the stream too, do not fade Baron. It has been paying out in these Swiss rounds. If you are out there and you are racing and you get that Baron key, you're going to want to route that in soon.
Speaking of paying out, Possumorpheus is paying out to the Eblin shop. That is both Sirens and Bacchus wines. You would love to see that 100%. Checking out these other shops, we got Full Moons, we have Drain Spears. We find ourselves an edge. That is dart fodder right there, 100%.
The only downside of that, Evelyn Cave is very expensive now and we have one flag on here for the Swiss rounds. It's going to really hinder the runners. While we have T Wildish, we also have S Quarter on. So money is has been a little hard to come by until very much later in the seed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, found a stalemate. Gonna reset and had to reloot and do all that.
Yeah, so not a big deal. Just might change up how he buys too. Instead of buying all those Bacchus wines, might go more Siren heavy this time. Also seeing.
I didn't see if he's gonna hold on to that crystal armor. It looks like yes.
Yeah, it's a good item to be holding on to in a back pocket, because if you can come back here later and Conte. So we have a French vanilla-ish element at that point, but something you love to see.
Yeah, the Porum here is interesting. It is a white mage. Everybody loves a good white mage in their party. You just heard me say good. But Porum will get you through the seed. Can do a lot of work with the right set of gear.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with having a Porum. She is. Everyone calls her inferior to Rosa. She is a side grade Rosa. She gets exit naturally. She gets berserk sooner. Yes, she gets cure 4 later, and her HP growth is in fact worse. But she is a very serviceable white mage. I've seen her dodge mega nukes and such where Rosa would take them full on. So I mean, there's at least that. But Sorbius, speaking of getting things, does not enjoy the protect ring that he's grabbing. Instead, going to make a quick run to this Baron Inn.
Yeah, this makes sense. Doesn't know that he's got a hook route potential in front of him, whereas Possumorpheus will be wanting to go through that Baron Castle just before diving that Mylon.
Absolutely. You don't want to jump in there. Even Castle Eblana, maybe for some extra levels, but mostly going for an extra character, I'm going to assume, just to fill out the ranks, because that is not. If it's Mylon himself, Mylon Z, then that's going to be a very punchy fight. Whereas if it's Mylon and friends, it's not going to be as bad. The only problem is you don't have a lot in the way of ad clearing.
Yeah, and neither runner has climbed ordeals, and that is where Possumorpheus is heading right now. This is 3 boss checks, even though we know Asura is hanging out in Baron. But this will put any Cecils to Paladin status, any Tellas we find having their full spell list, and could maybe give like Sand Ruby or Package to, maybe get that food before this hook route.
Absolutely. And speaking of hook route, Sorbius picking up his hook, whereas Possumorpheus is going to check. Yeah, you said we've already know where Asura is, but that's not the only boss hunt that we're having. Technically, we are still looking for that D-Mist. Could be gating a very fun crystal, could be gating maybe the pink tail or another item that'll lead into something like that in the other objectives. There is that possibility right there. And it looks like we may actually have a Siren cracked on... Oh, no, just reorganizing their inventory.
Yeah, that would be interesting to do a Siren here. I know it can be a decent, for a little, want to get those base levels up. We do have 2 level 1 Rydias. And it is cracking it.
Yeah, the Lamias here, you cannot life glitch them because they are classified as undead mobs, but they are fire weak and they will give you a lot of experience. Like you said, you have 2 level 1 Rydias that'll give them probably roughly about 10 levels, 10, 15 levels maybe. Well, keeping 1 down, but yeah, a lot of EXP. 5,500 is a lot for these characters.
Yeah, and while Possumorpheus is getting these levels and going to be working through ordeals, Sorbius is going to be diving through and checking out Evan Cave, going to be finding sirens, pocket swines, and we'll see how much looting he decides to do in the cave.
Indeed, it's always interesting to see when you get to this point. It's like, okay, we're about 20 minutes into the seed. Do I keep looting? Do I maybe hold off on it? What do we do in this aspect? Are we going to be looking for a whole lot more stuff? Are we happy with what we have? The answer is really not right now, because they are still looking for a way to do their level ups later. With only the 4 sirens that Possumorpheus is cracking a second one of. You really are looking for just like maybe your mid to late game thing. Are you expecting to go to the moon and getting all your levels there? Like you got to figure that out too, right? It's not just it's getting through this early game and through this early hook route, but it's also how are you getting through the rest of it?
Yeah, and for me personally, I am definitely a loot goblin. I see treasure, I want to get it, and it's very hard to choose when to stop looting. I do like the looting of Evelyn Cave though, especially if you can find that Staleman chest really easily. The gear here can be extremely high. As we saw, Possumorpheus does have a white spear that he got from the Evelyn Cave.
Yeah, absolutely. The white spear, very fantastic. If we do find that cane, the white spell is very invaluable in the overworld when he's still got low levels. Mind you, yeah, we are hitting the underground now, so it's really going to lose its luster in that aspect. But its holy weakness is not to be understated. There's a lot of bosses that are weak to it, whereas there are just as many that are resistant to it. Mylon being the one weak to it coming up, but we also have the idea of some of the weakness resistant ones, such as D-Mist, Pale Dim, such like that.
Yep, and it looks like Possumorpheus done with the grind. Cracked 2 sirens, so gonna be get our look at the first boss here on Ordeals as Sorbius finds the Porum.
Yeah, this is the real question: is what are you going to do with this Porum? Are you expecting to carry them through the rest of the game, or are you going to be kind of leaving them as like, well, this is? Are you accepting this as like, yep, this is my only character? Do I deal with this? Maybe do you go, getting rid of one of the Viridias actually for it? So it's interesting.
That is interesting. I would have probably gotten rid of one of the Sids, just knowing that just in case that is a confirmed hook route, even if it is a Mylon. I want a full-blooded white mage. Even though there is that Asura summon on Hobbs, I'm going to be wanting a full white mage for a hook route.
Absolutely. I've seen Asura whiff 2 out of 3 and hit that bad roll multiple times in a row. There was, in fact, a Zeromus fight that I watched in the Fabul Gauntlet where they were crying for that heal, and it was life face, reset, life face. It just got absolutely trolled. So as good as Asura is, absolute troll. And speaking of good, the mute is doing even more work here because we have the Magus Sisters in the Mylon and Friend spot. Not a spot you'd care to see anything in here because this is just easy-ish overall. Low magic, low physical attack, medium HP. Just bop them open and you kind of get your way through this pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, and with this health split between the three, as Possumorpheus made really short work, Sorbius is doing something interesting. Went back to save after doing some looting. Didn't want to lose what he found. So that's really interesting that he didn't just, choose to stop looting, or unless he's gearing up to maybe take on these Stalemen. Oh, there's a blue robe.
Oh, and here we have it. That's our gauntlet. This is probably one of the spots where you don't mind seeing it. You probably would have preferred it inside the dais itself, so it could have been like an EXP and an EXP-less spot. But this is also probably one of the slower gauntlets for one simple reason. We are going to have a Thriller Night later on, because this is all the zombies, all the undead, all the time. And they will all get their attacks off first here. So this is, in fact, the slowest, where you have no choice but them to go first.
Yeah, and you're just going to be sitting here waiting for them to get their attacks off, and we don't have a good way to clear these out. We don't have enough J items to really get this, party to, blow through them. So while it's going to be some decent XP, it's going to take some time, as Sorbius is heading into the Upper Babel Tower.
Absolutely. So you may say that we don't have the offensive power, but let me point my way to three characters that are going to be doing a crap ton of damage. We have Edward with his dancing daggers, as we see. We have Sid with the dwarf axe, and most of these undead can be harmed by Cure 2. Listen to me here. Cure 2 from Porum will probably take out most of these enemies in a single hit. And with some of the weaker ghouls, you can one-shot multiple of them at the same time.
It's something that I typically forget. I know you can use the Cure 2 to be offensive, and the one thing too though is Parm is just as slow as Sid, so it is going to take a while to cycle around to her to get that Cure 2 off.
Absolutely. And we have Sorbius finding the Mad Ogre chest. Does not seem to find, does not have, sorry, a easy way to stop them, but is going to be fine with all these characters rocking rune rings, as I said, because the Mad Ogres, not only are they giants, which Giant Killer works against them, they are also classified as mages. So what you can do is throw in some mage resist gear, throw in some mage killer gear, and here's a great way to knock these down.
Yeah, that mute knife, mute arrows, elven bow, all these things are gonna really make short work of these. Gonna try and get as many life glitches off as he can here.
Indeed. Oh, and thank you, Randomania, for joining from us. Again, don't spoil the race that you guys just finished. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Quick little recap of the seed. We started with a Edward and Sid. We had a pass key item. We had nothing until the Baron key, rocking at the bottom of Antlion Cavern with a Golbez, and we had a hook route from the Baron Inn.
Yeah, and the only check left available to Sorbius, other than this hook path that he's on, is the ordeals that Possumorpheus is doing. So if a magma key shows up on ordeals, that's really going to put Sorbius behind.
Yeah, but he's going to be way ahead in these levels, not having used the Sirens A on ordeals as Possum did, but also getting really good EXP from these Mad Ogres, life glitching them all with fair ease. And we have a Berserk going off from one of them stave smacks from one of the twins.
Yeah, and the boss, waiting for us in the Rubicante spot is Mylon Flavor. We don't know if it's Mylon and Friends or Mylon Z. So we will be finding that out soon. We do not know who the King Queen spot is yet, so we don't know exactly how rude this potential hook route is.
Speaking of rude, we are now on the rudest fight of this gauntlet. Those 7 zombies. Ready to do your dance? Dance to Thriller. This is not a fight you're gonna want. That's gonna take a short amount of time because of all the attacks they're getting in. But things that are short is we do have Sorbius through that fight, only getting a light sword for his troubles. That's a little unfortunate considering these trap chests can have the only way of getting those tier 7 items. You would have loved to have seen an X-Cal there or something along those lines. But Possumorpheus using some of those J items, big bomb that he had, and just tossing it out there and getting rid of that fight. And is getting into the last fight of the gauntlet too, I believe.
Yeah, and that's a really heads-up play because he could have used that firebomb earlier and didn't. Chose to wait until the fight with the 6 ghouls. So that's a really heads-up play by Possum.
Absolutely, just burning down that fight nice and quick. As we have Sorbius going to be at least checking to see what this first boss here. Maybe feels like now he's got the levels that he can take this Mylon fight. If it is Mylon Z, it is a flying enemy, so you can kind of get through that with a bow and arrow character. Will do quad damage. Oh, that is not what you want to see.
Oh, this is not good. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Mom Bomb is the worst boss fight in this game.
You want to see 1,200 damage, kid? No. Too bad.
Ooh, man.
Sid bops him down as probably going to be taking down everybody else in one hit here. This is so not only is this a spot that normally has 6,000 XP and you can get through fairly easily, Mom Bomb adds an additional 10k on top of that you have to chew through. So this is you don't come here until you have like a blink on the cactus or something along those lines. But we do have a nice thing on ordeals, paying out both blue robes up here, by the way. Both of those and an adamant rock. So it's purple hair into blue into blue into blue, if you want to look at the tracker.
Oh wow, that's an ordeal. So I mean that you're gonna want to get to because We do have for the LaliHo League these 3 set objectives: complete the Cave Magnus, forge the Legend Sword, trade away the Pigtail. We are halfway to 2 of those objectives now with having the hook and the adamant.
Absolutely. So the nice thing is what are we going to do? Are we going to find that cane, or are we going to do Forge Magnus and Pinktail? I know the crowd and everyone else is always a big fan of that Magnus because we all love music. Although Sorbius is getting through, is going to get this explosion from the Mom Bomb. Does need to heal up because this is gonna tickle a lot.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough way. Trying to get some run buffers out. Trying to and here comes the explode. See if Top Sid is going to live through this.
Pretty close, but it's going to take a chunk of this damage. Up gets another Cure 2 up. Should be okay, actually.
Eddie could not get the hide off.
Nope, we're going to see the kaboom, and there goes some characters.
Does he have a Gaia drum left? That might actually clear these. Oh, the Stardust might too.
And to answer a question in chat from Oscar424, we did check this Hob summon, and it was an Asura, so we have no offensive power through there. Not bad if we didn't find this Porum, which we only just recently got on the hook route. Sorbius making another great use of those J items. Stardust tossing it down. Get through that fight. Very, very nice. Is going to see this fight here. Definitely going to be saving. I know I would be after this.
I would too.
Yeah, this is not what you want to fight.
That is turn around and hit that save. You do not want to do Mom Bombing again.
I was going to say, it'd been really interesting if he went in.
Yeah, we always forget that it makes you kind of walk up a little bit first, to kind of, cutscene, story.
Swag. But yeah, we see Sorbius re-equipping his characters, throwing those white arrows on Sid. Not sure if the racial weakness is going to be enough versus, say, the mute daggers or something along those lines. Still a good choice, though.
Yeah, good choice for Sid. We don't have an Earth Hammer to make use of the fire weakness if it is Mylon Z. But again, if it is Mylon Z, that's going to hit the flying weakness because Mylon Z's flying to avoid Quake. Hey! And the holy weakness from the white arrows.
Absolutely. And it is Mylon Z. Wow. Very, very lucky in this aspect. Is a boss that could be fairly rude, but not free. Still rough, as this has a lot of HP for those Sids to chew through. But with double bows and some arrows, they're probably hitting someone in the neighborhood of about 1,000 damage or something along those lines.
Yeah, and this will all just come down to Porum keeping these Sids up with, has Cure 2, has a Lunar Staff too, I believe. So shouldn't have any issue keeping the group up. I don't think Sorbius will have any issue with this fight. Don't know if that Porum has Blink yet. Might want that on the Porum though. Oh wait, she has a Wizard Hat. Never mind.
Yeah, the nice thing about that Wizard Hat, that undead resistance, but we see a chunky hit from those Sids.
Oh yeah,
that white bow and white arrows and bow is hitting for easily almost 2k per hit. Gonna be doing about 10 arrows or so to get through this fight. Nice and quick, very easy, especially with them in the back row. As long as Porum doesn't get chonked out really quick with a bad crit, I don't see Sorbius having any issues with this fight now.
Yeah, he is going to be clearly in the lead now that we know that this is the path underground. As Possumorpheus is doing the Baron Castle, getting this Odin, we know that Asura is the next fight afterwards, so he will be getting his objective number 5. And to point out too, Sorbius making me eat my words earlier because I said to get rid of one of those Sids earlier, and he is showing why he chose not to.
Well, now, remember, we only have one Sid bonking with arrows. The other one's just hitting with a regular hammer. Still doing good damage.
Gets the kill.
Yeah, gets that kill. Nice and easy. Says, hey, rude hook. What rude hook? Gets through a very rude Mom Bomb into this. That's very, very well. 35 minutes, and we're starting to make our way underground. That's fairly quick for a hook route, considering these characters.
Yeah, this has been really well routed by Sorbius. Dove immediately into Baron Castle after getting the Baron Key from Antlion before even doing Baron Inn. Hasn't done ordeals yet. So that will, account for some of the gap between the runners. But Sorbius, I feel like, is definitely has firm command of this seed, and we'll see if he peaks. Does not
No
peak.
peak. We gotta know. We got to know.
No, Sorbius. It's just two to the right.
One hop this time. Yeah, we have Possumorpheus going to be finding the Asura on the throne here. So it is now a matriarchy here in Baron, whereas Sorbius is going to be raising this falcon, and the underground is going to be his oyster. Question is, which freebie do you check first? Do you go check Summon Monsters? Do you just go right to Sheila 1, sorry? You've got a lot of options now.
I always check Summon Monsters first, just in case it's a ban. You don't want to go and trigger Sheila 1 and then go to do Fey March, get the pan, and then have to go back down there.
Absolutely. So Sorbius actually opting for the check-in dwarf first. Very interesting. I'm excited to see what kind of items we have here. We do already know where the sirens are, so they can't be anywhere else. Illusions are a fairly nice find. We find some more physical punchy bosses in the near future.
I like doing the dwarf castle check first too, instead of cracking a couple of eggs before doing it. You're gonna get another character here with the two Sids. Maybe looking to replace Eddie if that's Sorbius' plan. We don't know yet, but definitely hoping to maybe get this Kane before doing any eggs to do some of these later bosses.
Yeah, speaking of some nice stuff, we do find ourselves a ninja shirt, which is going to be great if we find that edge anywhere, because the nice thing is you do not have any armor on him, and just throwing a ninja shirt on him the second you find him is going to be so fantastic. And Sorbius now actually in the hardest fight in the game that we have, inventory management. Always the worst on these flag sets. You got to hold on to stuff because you're fighting characters, and maybe I'll find a use for it. Maybe I'll need this.
Oh, and that was an ogre axe. Did Sorbius actually not take the ogre axe? That's an interesting call there with having a Sid in the party.
Indeed, it does lower some stats and some combat effectiveness, but it is probably one of Sid's, I think, third best weapon that he can equip. So it's not something you want to kind of turn around on. You do have good weapons for your cane, so if you do intend on, say, dropping that Sid for a cane, I can understand that. But, I mean, to each their own. Maybe he's very happy with just bow and arrow Sid, which is a perfectly great way to go through your character.
Yeah, Possumorpheus though through that Asura fight, I feel like felt like I got Possum got through that Asura fight a lot faster than Sorbius did. Maybe able to make some ground though, but whenever Sorbius does ordeal, Sorbius is going to get through that gauntlet a whole lot faster.
Indeed. The nice thing about the fact of just those extra levels and such, Possumorpheus picking up his Protect Ring. And, are we going to see a cheeky Odin check?
I like this check. If this is a free boss and Possum can get through it and it's darkness or something like that, that's going to be huge because it's going to take Sorbius a little bit to get back to Baron.
So that means if this is a free boss, this is exactly King and Queen Eblin, because we have seen every other free boss so far.
Very true, and that would be as we're going to see who it is here in a second.
You have Dr. Dialogue, and that is a power Odin. Oh my lord!
That's the second time this has happened to Astathis.
Oh man, if this pays off as a magma key, Possum is going to lose out on a fair amount of levels from that underground, but from like say the Mad Ogre chest, but is going to get through way faster and get caught up in check locations. So good. But we do have probably one of the nicest bosses to find here in the Dwarf Castle. Still uses the same song as the Calbrina dolls, as a matter of fact. So we have this. We have Dr. Deluia in Balamab. Two different fights, split up all the HP here, which is a fair chunk, to be completely honest. The really scary thing is if that Balanab does hit you, but will not, considering that Silver Hammer Sid is just saying, get out. But we are going to be preparing for the real fight afterwards.
Yeah, unfortunately, you really want to have this be the full XP. It's going to get split because these are, 20,000 XP fights that, are now you're going to get, I think, like 9 or 10 when this is all said and done on this first fight.
Exactly, because you can't kill all the bosses here. One boss will, quote, stay alive. is by the nature of the fact that one of them has to live to create Ball Map Z, or Ball Map Z won't be seen. We do see Ball Map Z here, though. Is going to punch once or twice and then wonder what the button is in his own creation. Oh, doesn't get to the button part. As we now get to, again, the real fight.
Yeah, and that's it with the silver hammer. All hammers in this game do. Oh, that's a pigtail.
Ooh, that's a hard required Baron.
Wow, that is something that Baron key really paying off for our runners today.
So it's not underground access, but that means that we can go turn in that pink tail. Maybe we're going to get a nice tier 7 piece of gear. Maybe we'll get something really sweet for our radio. Ooh, that's a black belt find. That's one of the. It's really nice when you see loot in the chest that you go, oh man, this wouldn't be. I'd be unhappy to see this early on. Whatever, black belt. Whereas on these flags, you're like, ooh, black belt. Just stuff like that. Just some nice items overall.
Yeah, and one of the things that it would be interesting, this is a tier 7 item from the Pinktail if Possum chooses to turn it in. Could be maybe a Bahamut summon for Rydia.
This is true. You have 2 Rydias with Bahamuts. They could start really tearing through the seed a whole lot more than what he's currently doing.
Sorbius is through. Oh, hello, Valvalis.
No. Go away. Oh, and a Paunch Mage.
Oh.
Going for Berserker strats now.
It does have the 2 Cat Claws still, I believe. I think Sorbius has not sold those. He does, right there.
Indeed. And let's pull up one of my favorite charts in this game. The handy dandy is Valvalis' punchable spot. I think this is a spot where he can just be punched and nuked here. Because I believe this is a magic defense and defense script 0. So this is just how do you want to kill Valvalis however you want. Possumorpheus, though, getting that pink tail traded away, and that is a Mirasame. If we find an edge, he is going to tear this seed open.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he started off with a Charm Claw, got punched before he could put those Cat Claws to use.
Charm Claw's still good if we ever decide we need to go a little bit of a giant killing. But no, this is also still a pretty quick spot for Valvalis. So as quote free as this fight is, it's still a bit of a rough one to get through. As we see Sid only swinging for about 500 or 400 damage.
Yeah, this is 3,000 HP, but it is very fast. It was meant to be. It is a story spot in the vanilla game, so really was supposed to make really short work of it. But Sorbius is working through it. It is not going to be that easy, unfortunately.
Just because this is a free story spot doesn't mean if we follow story logic, we're going to have an easy time. But yeah, Possumorpheus finding himself through the hook right now. Wonder how much looting he's going to do, because there is that lunar staff that he could pass over, which it looks like he probably might. Plus these ogres that he could be killing for XP.
Yeah, and also that first chest that he passed by was actually a siren too. That would have replenished his supply because he used 2 of them in Mad Ordeals to get some levels.
Yeah, it looks like he's just passing over all the treasure chests. Not the worst idea, because we only know it's a lightsaber, so he's not missing out on items, but he is going to be missing out on the experience, which could boost it and give him a nice little boon for this this hook fight, these hook fights that he's going to be taking. However, he did take that Odin boss location, so he is kind of caught up on the on fights, whereas we have the crystal being taken by the red right hand.
I have no follow-up to that. I tried really hard, and my brain just completely blanked on that.
You're welcome. And Oscar Edwin confirming in chat, Odin XP is the equivalent of about 7 Mad Ogres. So yeah, it's a give and take back there. Thankfully, there's no good key item for there to be taken. Speaking of good key items, we have a package that is a boss and a character check right there. So we have a fair bit of spice going on right now.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to if you want to decide that. I mean, that could still be Fu, and Fu is going to change the entire layout of your seed if he's there. I personally think Fu is 100% worth going through the cutscenes to get. Some people don't agree with me on that, but we'll see if Sorbius decides to kind of check that out. Could still also be our required Kane.
Indeed, and we do still have more checks to be making underground. We do have Keyless Tower that we could go for, which I am a huge fan of. We could also be going and doing the Feymarch bosses. But Sorbius said going to be giving us a look underground with Tomer's hiding. Still doing some armor shopping, probably looking for a cursed ring just to make sure that their anchor situation is as good as it can be.
Yeah, we haven't seen one appear yet in the seed in various looting, various shops. So a curse ring would be really nice. Does still have that base level Rydia to be an anchor though. So a curse ring may not necessarily be on his mind. Could just be looking to round out his team's party. He hasn't found like a black belt or anything like that to really boost his physical fighters.
Yeah, the only one who's found that has been Possumorpheus. A rune axe there is not bad. Sadly, all of our mage type enemies have already been found, or else I would be very tempted to pick that up. And however, in Tamara, we have Mute Bells and Starbills, so if we need to go do a cheeky Warlock grind, that is on the menu.
Yeah, cheeky Warlock grind would be nice there. Bypassing the Sylph buy too. I don't hate it. Getting to a point where we're not going to spend the time to get this Rydia leveled up. We've kept her down for so long, so saving the money there, and it looks like Sorbius is going to be cracking some eggs.
Absolutely. The only way that a Sylph summon would be really good is if you found a really rude CPU spot where you needed to kind of keep the HP up and you didn't have a good healer. We have Porum though, so Sylph has really drastically dropped in value, even if you didn't go the way of keeping yourself up like that. But yeah, well, we have a little bit of a grind going on, and we have Possumorpheus kind of replenishing the same ground that's gone through. I'd like to give another shout out to the people who are working behind the scenes. Again, we have Crimson Avix, who is putting together this show, restreaming it for us, and Dijon Ketchup, who she is doing a wonderful job lighting up the buttons and tracking everything that you see going on here. The runners running at lightning speed.
Yeah, and if you haven't done so, please give the runners a follow as well. They've been putting on an excellent race for us so far. It may seem like Sorbius has a huge lead, but that could be cut down with just a number of checks. Depending. And Possumorpheus, I feel like, is closing this gap.
Absolutely, the extra check of the Baron Underground is fairly big in that aspect. Sorbius is following the rule. Check your freebies, check your objectives. We did an objective-ish first in Dwarf Castle, and now we're going to get a freebie check in the way of Feymarch. I love this check because you only get to see 2 different bosses, but we're not on a boss hunt technically anymore. But we also have the simple fact of this free key item, which is Magna Key. There was no cheeky demons hiding that somewhere, sadly. Hook route was our only way underground. Elixirs, not bad to see, actually to the point where they are almost worth a purchase here sometimes. Because you see elixirs, they're too expensive, they're not good enough. They're kind of in the realm of usability now, not for selling anymore because they still only sell for 1. But an elixir is almost not bad to pick up for Z fights when you need a healer, but you don't have, say, a Rosa or Porum.
Oh, and that's a Feymarch you do not know.
Oh no. That is a no, thank you. Wham bam, I'm out of here, ma'am.
That was one of the fastest resets on any boss set that I think I will ever see.
I think I can hear Sorbius laughing and saying no from here. We do have a headband in the armor shop. Not terrible, not great item-wise here, but we've kind of found most of what we're really looking for. We're just kind of looking to round out the rest of our team, maybe figuring, are we going to take this entire squad to Z with a little bit of lower DPS?
I just saw this. It's 4,000 damage.
Hey man, don't mess with Sid.
Don't mess with Sid. He's got to be rocking, I think, an Elven Bow and white arrows there.
Something along those lines. Question in chat from Pepita69XXX, is that confirmed leg? It is not confirmed leg. We still have an Elements out in the wild. That could be Ruby proper, or it could be Ruby and Friends. There are a lot of group of friends we're missing out there. Milam and Friends as well. But we are looking for to see what's going to happen. Sorbius is going to give us a little bit of fresh ground here, is checking that Yang, and going to see maybe going to go and check that package immediately. Got a lot of options open for him right now.
Yeah, will Possumorpheus give us a look? It is a Bahamut at the top of that tower.
That's a fight I'd be really tempted to take right off the bat
Yeah,
because
I would be too.
there's a lot of HP there. You will eventually chew through it, but if you berserk your characters and then gas wall on them, which unfortunately we don't have a tele to do so, you will have permanent wall. But they can do Star Veils and use Bacchus because we did find the Bacchus wines in Eblin Castle or Eblin Cave.
Yeah, and that could definitely be something that would really propel Possumorpheus forward if he chooses to go there. As as Sorbius is heading to Fabul, has already done Fabul defense, so we'll just be getting the Sheila 1 check here. Sorbius also still has Mad Ordeals and the Barren Basement, as Possumorpheus is retreading what Sorbius has done underground.
Absolutely, and there's this is going to be the first new check that we're going to get in a minute, and I think the first one we're going to get probably for a few minutes, since Possum is going to be going underground and looting that, and I'm pretty sure Sorbius, unless this is like Darkness Crystal. Ooh, it's an Earth Crystal though.
Oh,
That is really nice to get, especially here, because now you can just fly right across and go and check that out.
yeah.
Especially with the Barren Basement coming up, yeah, you could do Earth into Barren really nicely.
That's going to route really good for Sorbius if he chooses to do Earth right now, which that I would be feel incentivized. Still looking for that Kane. That's 2 character checks. That's a key item check. I would be surprised for him to not head there.
Absolutely, and we still have the fact of Demas being hidden out somewhere. Could be our moon access in the way of Darkness Crystal to find yet another way of the character, or again, we could have Kane just sitting on Giant and being the only way to find him. We don't know yet.
And there were black belts for sale in Troya all along.
You'll love to see it. Yeah, Troy is a place. Oh,
Oh, wow.
that is fairly stacked overall, actually.
Oh, I wish we would have gone to Troya before doing that hook route.
Oh man, Thunderclaws too would have made Odin even more free than what it currently was. That's a we always say rate that treasury is one of my favorite things that we've done here, but rate those item shops. Those are pretty solid. They are weakness out of 10, to be honest.
Yeah, I would almost be tempted to pick up an Earth Hammer anyway, even though I'm through that Mile Z, just to bop alerts when, I decide to do Tower. That's a good source of potential tier 7 loot there.
Absolutely. And the item shops here are absolutely getting by NPC is my favorite part about free enterprise. Yeah, you have the Tele items there in a Soma drop and Ether 2s. We probably won't be seeing a D machine grind, almost guaranteed, but there's that. Oh, Sorbius fake. Come on, man. Give us the treasury. We need to see it. The people have to know.
Unfortunately, though, while we are on T Wildish, could have some crazy treasury with that. With that max tier flag on, though, the treasuries have not rated well. Not saying they can't rate well, but Sorbius saying nope, I'm good.
And that's the thing. You can't just look at the treasuries anymore in max tier 6 and be like, oh, well, there's no crystal sword. It's absolutely a 0 out of 10. You got to look at it in the max tier 6, also from the way that your characters are looking now. Just because you only see, like, say you have 2 Rosas, a Kane, and a Rydia, and you see 1 heroine robe, you see a defense sword, or even like something along those lines, and you find more stuff like more major oriented gears, like, well, that treasury goes from like what would be maybe like a 2 out of 10 in the grand scheme of things, and it becomes like, hey, this is about a 6 or 7 out of 10 because that Rosa can now DPS and stand up and keep toe to toe with the big boys.
Yeah, one other thing to point out too, Sorbius being the true heel on the restream, went to Tomra, did not check the job dwarf either.
Absolutely. Confirmed Sorbius, not a fan of the people, but we all know that a lot of people like to forego the memes that we have in Freen, a whole lot of them. Those 3 black belts, though, going on the DPS characters, as we're going to get our first look to see who's here at the top of Zod.
Not going to be very many bosses here that will be too scary. Just some dolls. This is going to be, a bunch of hit. Earth Hammer. Did he buy one? I don't know.
I did see an Earth Hammer purchase. That could be incorrect, but there are some some big bombs there. This is not long.
Yeah.
In the world.
Couple big bombs, and yeah.
1 big bomb almost did it right there, because this is, again, 9k HP divided more heavily on the blue side, as you see, but divided amongst them. Yeah, two big bombs, absolutely out of here. Whereas we have Possumorpheus laying a bit of a smackdown on top of this. On top of here, getting a knocked out slept Sid.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's I don't know if Possum found the silver hammer that Sorbius did, so not getting that full machine damage, but should be able to get through this Luge, and then we'll be greeted.
Yeah, it's a Valvalis that we already knew about. There's our Cane, though. So we have an Edge and we have a Cane. This is probably one of the best things that you can probably find at the top of this at this fight here. This is a Zot that you love to see. You went from like very medium DPS to probably your top tier considering the items that we found, because we have Mirasame Masunian, we have a White Spear. These characters are just going to be just, yep, shuffle your party, absolutely.
Did not take the Cane though. Kept the Yon, kept the Sid, just took the Ninja.
Keeping the Sid over the Cane, that is a very interesting call, really, in my opinion. But I mean, hey, maybe Sorbius has more respect for the Sid, doesn't want to do as much of a grind. Yeah, that does knock out objective 4 for him.
Yeah, and Sorbius hasn't found that Masamune yet either.
Yet, keyword. Could possibly do this Odin spot after here, so that is a very big possibility. Here's an antline fight, though. Not a fight that you even really care about in this location.
Yeah, but this gonna looks like chuck a lightsaber, but the front line people are not gonna be worried about this punchy antlion. The magic's not too high here where the counter is gonna do anything. That was something I learned the other day. The counter from antline is magic based.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch in a spot where you're like, man, this is a really low physical spot. I'm just going to beat on it. Why is that counter doing 3k? It can be very, and there's some very rude spots. The biggest one that's the most rude, I believe, is Ogopogo, because that is high physical and high magic. So that hits hard any way you slice it.
Line anywhere on the moon is never a good sign. So finding a antline here at the top of Zot, definitely preferable. Gets through it really quick. And the antlion fades away as Possumorpheus is through the Valvalis.
Absolutely. They have Valvalis areas crumbling on both sides. The fight proper on Possum's side, and then the location on Sorbius. Both of them going to be getting key items. Possum finding out that is going to be just, again, the package, which we still haven't checked that character. That could be another Cane. Whereas Sorbius is going to be learning Exit on Rosa, who is not currently in the party, as well as going to give us a look at what is sitting where the Vanilla Magma key sits.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see where Possum goes. I would expect him to make the dive into Fey March, but will Possum do a keyless tower before doing Sheila 1? That would be a very interesting choice, in my opinion.
I got a little narrative here, Bad Karma. Now, Edge threw that lightsaber. What he actually threw was a light boomerang, because it always comes back.
Definitely comes back. That's like the third one I think we found too, because Sorbius found one in the Mad Ogre chest. I think there was one in Waterway.
You would be correct. So we had Watery Pass up towards where Octomom is. We did have that trap chest, and now we have one there. So lightsabers everywhere, but not accessible to the Plink.
Yeah, and foregoing the Odin check, Sorbius is going to make the climb to Ordeals. I don't hate this with the information. Oh, there's another Murasame.
Cheeky!
Not a lot of people check the Chocobo Forest. I do every now and then, and that one paid off for Sorbius. 2 Murasames on his edge now.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. And yeah, a lot of people keep forgetting about the Chocobo Forest loots. They are classified as lonely quote areas, so they have a higher tier of loot. I want to say it's about a 40% chance for tier 6 loot. Whoever in the chat actually knows the numbers can correct me on that, but I know that they are a higher chance, especially since they are very out of the way. So it kind of like rewards you for going and checking it. And that one is just so close on the path there that it is 100% worth it just to go and check. It's like, okay, it's right here. Either it's something good or it's something bad. And this time came up big on Sorbius' side. Possumorpheus looking at these fights. Oh, advancing towards. Let's go. Come on.
He's doing it. He's so. If you're new to Free Enterprise or haven't seen this, what Possumorpheus is setting up to do is potentially to cheese this Evil Wall fight. He's going to have Eddie hide. When Evil Wall has no targets on screen, he will start hitting himself. Oh,
here we go. Oh, wow. Gets the hide off. Yep. So we got to get that virus.
Oh, yep. Nope. Not going to get the virus.
It's unfortunate. But yeah, so as we said, Evil Wall is just going to keep advancing and going to be hit. It has to hit something. So as we see, Evil Wall is going to hit himself for 1,800. Not bad.
I don't know if that's enough.
Might be enough. I think the spot has roughly 20-ish K. Someone can correct me on that.
I think it's 24, 25. I can't remember exactly how many hits Evil Wall does. I know there's a chart somewhere out there on the Discord. If you're looking for any Free Enterprise information on the wiki or the Discord, it probably has it. There's a chart somewhere that tells you exactly where Evil Wall will be able to kill himself.
That's very interesting. And on the other side, we have Sorbius getting through the grind spot very quickly. Everyone knocking up some good damage. But yeah, here I believe like an extra hit or two. That virus might have been enough. Maybe needs a little bit more outside of that, but getting lucky and having Eddie get the hide off is a bigger thing in my opinion.
Yeah, number of low rolls here too. This could just be some bad RNG. Could have gotten the virus off. Really would have helped us.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, the virus plus everything. Yeah, here he's in the crush phase. If we had a ribbon, things would be a little bit better.
Tried for the cheeky. Maybe this will do it.
Oh, misses crush. So the thing is the magic stat here I think is low enough that it can miss, like fairly regularly. Or Eddie's just rocking high enough magic defense. But getting that berserk up is going to get the crush. Nope, misses again. My. Oh no, do we have some delicious cheese?
Does he have a ribbon? I have not seen Possum pick up a ribbon.
If he has a ribbon, if he doesn't have a ribbon, I'm impressed. But if he does have one, then yeah, holy
that's
crap.
3.
Like, look at these rolls. This is Edward just like bobbing and weaving.
Oh, he got it!
Feet. That ain't Falco. That's Edward. He's through that Evil Wall. Those misses absolutely clutch. Only Artemis arrows.
Oh no!
But still, that's what you love to see. That's the kind of stuff we love seeing here in Treen, where you got some crazy tactics. Doesn't get experience on the rest of the party. Edward still gets his time in the sun to shine, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a set of Artemis arrows will be good and put to use when eggs are cracked later. But man, that is not what you want to see there after putting through that work.
Absolutely, especially when you're kind of like clenching like that. It's like, oh my god, is this going to happen? And then, yeah, the glory here. Oh, we are going to get a look at what leg we have here. Is it Leg and Friends or is it a solo dancer? Ooh, that was solo leg. Dancer. No, thank you.
Yeah, that is not a spot you want to be fighting Ruby. Good chunk of magic, good chunk of physical attack.
And Ruby actually does do the multiples as well. Even if you do have like aim or have Rudia cast spells, the joy quote there is the fact that after a while he casts glare, then he puts his leg away, and everyone in chat gets sad. But then he actually starts punching too, and not just like regular hits. He acts like red dragons and gets multi punches off.
So Petgraz, that was the Leviathan spot.
Yeah, we had Zot giving us both Edge and Kane. So that was a very spicy Zot that we had there, top of tower. Sorbius finding the adamant though. Wonder where it's going to put him now. Are we going to see maybe the Baron check afterwards to get that pink tail to keep people kind of like toe and toe? Possumorpheus, I don't believe. Oh yeah, it gets the Earth Crystal from Sheila 1. So this is we may have to find a way to get our dark. That ruby might actually be gating our way to more key items.
Oh, that would be cheeky. We still do have Keyless Tower as well. That's just a Bahamut up there.
Man, don't crush my dreams.
I'm fully in support of your Darkness Crystal at the Ruby. Trust me.
And we also do have the package that could be
It could be the Demist package.
Yeah, but yeah, if that Rubicante is in fact guarding, so Pancraz Baron Basement has the pink tail, so that's not something that's guarding anything. So it's a good item to have, but yeah, so we're missing the Legend Sword, and then we can start finding a way up there, or we could find the Twin Harp. Those are the two key items we're really looking for. The moon could in fact have value tonight. Oh, and as our tracker is pointing out, we could have Demist a giant. That would be a very, very cheeky Demist, and I'd be 100% here for it.
Demist on the giant with the Twin Harp leading to the Legend Sword.
Oh, please, give me the dream.
Just because I said it now, I shouldn't have said anything because I was already been wrong twice tonight.
Yeah, you've been caster cursing our evil seed. Possumorpheus, though, and Sorbius retracing some old ground. We do have the fact that we have our adamant there, we have our earth crystal, shiny rocks on both sides. Sorbius, again, Baron is where he would want to go, or we do have, again, top of tower, whereas Possumorpheus, gonna land the Falcon there. Oh, no, gonna change ships.
And looks like our package check is coming up here with Sorbius.
Comment from the chat, Mystigos. Imagine Knazo at Elements if we haven't seen him yet. Knazo is possibly out in the wild still. Ooh, Sorbius taking a reset after just checking the Rosa. Doesn't even look to see what the boss is. That could be a very bad thing unless he goes back in and checks it after this check here in Dark Elf and Demist.
Yeah, we've already seen the Dark Elf here. We know that there's Baron Guards hanging out in the waterfall. Possumorpheus has made these checks before. Possum going with the with an inn visit here.
Hey man, sometimes you rest in cabins and tents everywhere. Sometimes it's nice to have an actual proper bed.
I think he's in Troy. He's just gonna go upside. You know, it's yeah, he's in a cabin, but he's in a nice enclosed room where there's no monsters.
Yeah, man, but I mean, you hear them clawing at the door, and you don't want to hear that. You don't get restful sleep that way.
But it's got the nice soothing blue lights just blinking around at you.
This is very true.
Will Possum check the treasury, though, which Sorbius did not. Nope, never mind.
No.
Didn't even tease us.
Nah, just beelining it up there. Probably feels like it might be a little bit behind, because we know that these flag sets can be fairly jetty. So being at about an hour and 8, and our runner's doing a fair amount of work here, ripping through the seeds. We do have Sorbius going and finding that very free fight down here at the Odin spot, going to get this pink tail, whereas Possum is going to also light up objective 4 very shortly when he gets this cane.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting seeing how quick Possum gets through the Zot and whether that Ruby or the Keyless Tower play. I think our runners are going to be converging on that Bahamut here really soon. Sorbius probably will get there a little bit early, maybe about 20-30 seconds ahead, I feel like.
It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. He does still have to turn in the pigtail. Did leave the hovercraft there, so that is that as a little thankfulness for him. But yeah, we have a fairly tight race on here, all things considered. It's not a linear seed, but everything, it's kind of like all roads lead to Lower Zod.
This is yeah, and considering how far ahead Sorbius was getting underground compared to Possum, but Possum did a couple extra checks, and that's what's going to lead these two to really just converge here, because the Dolls here and Antline are not going to be too much of a threat for Possum.
Indeed, although Possum's going to have a little bit of a quote longer time with it. Oh no, this virus could probably take advantage of it, but the big bomb that Sorbius threw out made a really, really quick work of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Possum has anything else. Maybe a blizzard for the Sid to throw if Sid circles around. Oh, gets the toad off.
So the nice thing is those back dolls do not have the boss bit. So you can kill off the front dolls without abandon right now, and leave the back ones, and they will not converge into Calbrena.
Yeah, but those front dolls could still converge, I believe.
Absolutely can, especially when the targeting is not going in his favor. There you go. There you go, Sid. Hit the right one. There we go. See, now all I had to do was talk, and then he's just working now. But Rydia saying, nah, you know what? We're just going to rock this party out and sword down a Titan, knock down the other two dolls very easily.
Oh, interesting. Sorbius skipping the pink tail check, going right to the tower.
Exactly. You can just keep that in his back pocket, because if, say, this is the other half of Forge, he's down here, does that, gets the pink tail in, and then kind of gets to go from there, really. Whereas Possumorpheus gets to see that edge that he's got a Murasame and a Masamune for, and then eventually going to see that cane that he's got a White Spear for.
Pancras, that's a really good point. If this ends up being a rat tail, he won't have to route this in twice, whereas Possum's already turned in the pink tail.
Exactly. A little bit of micro optimizations, which could be a big factor in this, because especially when runners are starting to get to these like 1-1, and this is where you start getting like the point where it's very tricky, whether you're feast or famine to go further into the tables. You want to start making like those better optimizations just to like make your routing the best as possible.
We'll see who Possum decides to take out of this edge and cane combo.
If it's not both, I'm disappointed.
He did have a ribbon.
Yep, there. So yeah, that explains why he lived through the crush phase. Yeah, still very, very heads up to have that. Very lucky. I don't know where he found that, but it's so good to have. Is debating on who he's taking out, getting rid of the Rydia, and is picking up the items and is gonna keep it. I like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of runners, myself included, who really favor Berserk strats for the end game, because you can do Zeromus at such a lower level. You don't have to take your black mages all the way to nuke, especially with Rydia. Her XP curve is really steep. This Bahamut fight.
Absolutely, and the nice thing is we get this Bahamut coming in is going to give us a show of how this is going to happen. Are we going to get a Berserk into? Nope, just going to be straight up Berserking this this edge here. Not going to get a wall off or anything like that. Whereas we see the equipping still going on in Possumorpheus' side.
Yeah, with the low magic here and a ninja shirt on this wow, I can't talk apparently, on this edge. I don't think this Mega Nuke's gonna do all that much.
I could still probably drop him sitting at sub 1,000, but he is going to have a lot of defensive multipliers here. We're going to be Rydia, and by Rydia I mean Yang and Sid are going to be perfectly fine here.
Is going to get some Star Veils just to ensure that something reflects back.
Absolutely. I would definitely be putting it up on the forum. You have to make sure she stays alive in this, especially since you berserked up your actual bruisers. So if she goes down and she's not getting XP, that is the biggest thing. She's like Rydia in that aspect. Yeah, they just chew through the HP. No big deal whatsoever. She's like Rydia in the aspect that, and there's another part of vanilla. Top of tower required for second part of tower. Could see maybe something nice from here. But to continue my point is we have a Porum who is like Rydia in the aspect that she needs a lot of XP to get all of those levels so that she can start doing, so she can keep getting those Cure 4. And that's what you need.
Chat, I can confirm Crimson Vadix rolled this, not Dathis.
Hey man, I'm just here to talk. I infect seeds. I infect seeds all the time. You should. Oh, Zoe and I ever do a seed and commentary together? I really do not envy that seed roller because they will have no control.
There's our other purple robe. One dance party has been found.
Pepita, yes, it just got me 2 seconds ago. I feel very disappointed, but yeah. So we have Mylon and friends here. Gonna get knocked out pretty quickly, whereas Possum is gonna be getting his, I believe this was the Lukaki? No. Like the lightsaber, because it was the boomerang.
Yep, boomerang saber.
But But the real question is there value in Lower Bahamut or sorry, in Lower Babel, or are we going to be going and having to deal with that Rubicante? That is the true question right here.
I kind of want this to be the spoon after both the runners have gotten rid of their Edwards.
I mean, the spoon's still good because you have Edge that can throw it at something. And throwing it at... And actually, the spoon here would be great because you just look at that Rubicante and say, eat quad 9s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get our runners doing a lovely bit of a high five here in Babel. So we have one going down. This is, again... For a seed that is as wide open as it was, it does get a little bit. It is getting a little bit linear here with the checking back and forth. But Sorbius mostly blazing the new grounds here for most of these checks. Once we hit underground.
Yeah, and this will be really interesting to see which way our runners decide to go. Needing only one key item for go mode, if they can find a darkness crystal. How do you tackle this move?
Survey says. Ooh, it's a pan. That's it. That's a rabbit hole. Yeah. You gotta chase that.
You gotta go. And then leave a save right here so that you can efficiently come back if Sheila 2 does not have the goods.
This is true. I would put a save actually probably right outside Fey March just to be safe, and then come up here. But that's just in maxing at that point. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, chase this. This could possibly be an out for this Rubicante, which is going to be a little bit higher weighted, considering that the vanilla key item locations have a higher chance of being a key item versus summon locations.
Mm-hmm. I'm fully expecting this Darkness Crystal to show up on Shield too.
I'm actually not calling Darkness Crystal. I'm going to call my shot right here. This is going to be Luca Key into Rat Tail into music. I want this chain.
I want the chain too, and that's why I'm trying to be wrong here.
Yeah, mention from chat, Sorbius hasn't done the misunderstood wall, not the evil wall, because he's not evil. But yeah, probably saving that Fey March till he's like, fine, I'll do the Fey March.
As Possum's finishing up this Bahamut fight, we'll see if he gets through before the countdown. Does have that base level cane still.
Yeah, still popping out about 350 damage. Not bad considering he's got just the white spear and a little bit of extra armor. Gets through fairly easy. 10 levels on him. Is a ribbon. We have a required Rubicante. Or, actually, no, wait. Yeah, 100% required Rubicante. That is super spicy. The nice thing about that ribbon, though, is if Silver didn't reset out of that, that is safety against that Evil Wall Crush phase. Mm-hmm. Also, yeah, Pancrez pointing out we do have Package Demist, which Sorbius has reset out. May have thought he did the full check of Package, but did not. So we do have some good spice being rolled here. And again, big shout outs to Crimson Avix for the spicy seed rolled up. It turned out, it's like we got a little panicky. Like, is this gonna be less of a barn burner? And we have a rude requirement so far.
Yeah, and this is gonna be a good opportunity for Possum to catch up, because Sorbius, if I'm Sorbius, I'm taking that Evil Wall fight with that newly found ribbon.
But he reset out of the ribbon, if I remember.
Oh, he correctly. Did.
Yeah, he didn't take the walk down, so he's like, you know what? Nope, we're gonna do this. But yeah, if you're gonna be doing this, I would probably do that. Pepita, so Giant can't be Demus because we're still looking for our Darkness Crystal. So we're looking for a Darkness Crystal access.
Dijon, yeah, Possum did get the Magma Key because he's been to the Fate March. Right? Wasn't that where the Magma Key was? It was the Fate March.
Yeah,
right?
It was Fate March. Because remember we talked about there being no other underground access. So Sorbius is going through here. Gonna be doing the Evil Wall check first. I strongly agree with this one. This is the fight to take. It's not gonna be fun, but this is a fight you take, especially if this Edge can. Oh yeah, if Yang is taking 800 damage, ooh, that Porum does be taking some bops though.
Yeah, this is something going to throw the Silk Web. I like the Silk Web he's here. We haven't seen him in a shop yet. We really want to keep it.
That's not true.
But did we? Oh, were they in Troya?
They were in Troya. Troya was a very lucrative.
That's right.
Shop.
That's right.
No, they weren't in Troya. They were in Wharf Castle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but with Ed, so while the evil wall may have been like you're saying 1800 a hit, we also have a dead edge that does the same thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, see, this is where you have to divide up. Is like, am I going to blink first or am I going to berserk up first? I think here, because of the way evil wall is, you're probably going to want to blink up with your Porum first. Unless you go like we're doing and readjusting your strategy and throwing on back row, protect ring, just make that edge your highest priority because he's going to be the way you defeat this evil wall.
Yeah, and Pickers, Sirens are in the Cave Evelyn, and I don't believe we have seen any Ice Claws anywhere.
We have seen Thunder Claws, but we have not seen the Ice Claw as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and Sorbius probably not wanting to burn Sirens yet because he's sitting at 9 key items right now.
Yeah, that 9 key item grind is not what you want to do. You're kind of hoping that maybe this evil wall pans out, gives you something okay, and maybe I'll do a fight here, something like that.
That's the tower key panned out.
You know what? You're right. So, so we do have the pan there. He's hoping that this is going to give him something to bail him out. How's that? The rest of this pay march check. But unfortunately, as we know, all it's going to be is just this ribbon. Or sorry, not even the ribbon. Yeah, he's going to see it. Yeah, another reset out. Doesn't need that. Absolutely a thing you reset out of. There's no reason to keep another ribbon. You have more than enough.
Yeah.
But also getting the bad news. Maybe he remembers though. He does have a package. Are you going to go check that out? Oh,
yeah.
Or are we going back underground?
No, wanting to get more Sirens, I think.
Yeah, I think Possum may have forgotten about the demist as well, and is like, you know what? Fine, let's go fight Rubicante.
But I mean, Sorbius not having that good of a time though with this evil wall.
Now his edge is pumping out the DPS though, going for 2k a pop here. Is gonna chew through the HP fairly easily. Being kind of, in my opinion, a little greedy with that Porum, but a cure 3 from Yang, sorry, no big deal. Is gonna get through the fight. Getting kind of lucky with board AI, hitting the people who have blinks up. And is going to be chewing through the last, probably like 1 or 2 hits left here. Yeah, that Chemist Sid coming in absolutely clutch.
Oh, Possum just dropped a stack for Drain Spears.
Hey, you've got an edge. No reason not to. And speaking of edge, getting through that fight very easily after the recovery. And going to get the absolute bad news here that, hey, that friend to my immediate right here, there's Sorbius. You gotta fight me. That's a reset out of the fight. Doesn't care about the XP. Whew.
I would have kept it for the XP, but also to make some egg grinding a little quicker too with those Artemis arrows.
Absolutely, because you can either do those on eggs, or you can even take them up to the moon and go fight King Ryu's. Like, yeah, you don't have stop, but with enough defensive equipment, which we have a fair amount of with those protect and crystal rings, that you can just berserk it, set it, and forget it.
So here we go, chat. Required Rubicante.
Was it leg? We will show you how. Now here's the real question that I have for you, Bad Karma. They're gonna get through this fight. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of fire counters.
Oh, it is.
It is. Bold swing. Oh, throwing up that
Dragoon shield, yeah.
Very nice. But yeah, that is a lot of fire counters. Ooh, that's not who you want to see a glare on. Probably could be powering with this Yang, or is just going to be rocking double chemist duty, which would probably be the better of the two options.
Yeah, needs to get that Porum up though, so that she can start getting
Nope,
some
she's
blinks on that
gonna.
edge.
Yeah, she's not gonna. She's gonna eat this counter fire and then go right back down. You need to be protecting her with more magic defense in this spot because, like I said, it's the magic attack is not high here. It's the simple fact that it is the counters are what's going to be making a problem of you. You need to. It's so hard to make the calls here, right? Like you can't just you want to just berserk and go, but you also have to make sure that you have your healer set up. But if she goes down that quickly, then it's unfortunate.
Doing a quick armor check, see if there's or a weapon shop, see if there's an ice claw.
Not
No
bailed
dice.
out, sadly.
But meanwhile, Possumorpheus is starting. Possum is stacked with some drain spears. Not going to be worried about those fire counters.
Pankra is actually bringing up a good point. We do have a Blizzard Spear. Kane could be jumping with those. Unfortunately, Sorbius got rid of him. Yeah, there is that option as well for Kane to just kind of like carry DPS that way, to be jumping and doing some really good damage as an overall. Yeah, look at that, popping at 3k. Yeah. It's slower, but this is where you're not eating counters, and all you have to do is worry about the glares and chuck some drain spears. This is gonna be the slow but steady way of getting through it. And again, what's with this board? Yeah. Please, what is wrong with Porum?
Board just doesn't like Porum.
Man, apparently, don't tell Demarine, shield your eyes.
I know, yeah. I do not, like how Rubicant just keeps glaring at Porum, she falls over.
And I think he just bopped Kane too, as a matter of fact. It's just unfortunate. The ones who are doing the most work just get put down.
Yeah, this would be I would almost actually want to keep that middle Rydia up just to, have an extra target.
Yeah, but without finding a cursed ring or a way to lower her agility, which I think the curse is the only way. The problem is if she is alive at the end of the fight and gains any levels after level 10, her agility becomes very wonky to anchor with. So I agree. I agree with keeping it down, but I also agree with you the fact of any extra target to be absorbing these. Cool. Look at that. Sid just taking a hit like a boss.
Yeah, he was full health, and now he's not full health.
Yeah, keyword was. But yeah, the fact that he's got that extra shield, take that extra resistance, and is putting up a good defensive wall here. All right, let's see who the next glare is going off onto.
Yeah, Sorbius, meanwhile, though, trying to get through his Rubicante fight as well. Edge temporarily down, but does give his party a little bit of reprieve, though, by, anytime Edge does go down, because those fire counters are not coming out. Ooh.
It's very unfortunate. Oh, it's a bad double tap. It's hard to recover from the double hit, especially if the white mage keeps going down.
And he's going to go ahead and exit, probably going to go crack some eggs.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with this. This is a point where it's like you need levels for Zeromus eventually. It's a 9 key item grind. You're not happy about it, but you know what a 10 key item grind is? A 10 key item grind 20 minutes from now is better than a 9 key item grind now that gets you through a fight 5 minutes or 10 minutes faster.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not ideal. This is not like perfection. Sometimes we can't route everything perfectly. And there are times where stuff like that can even actually lose you races. I've seen even our more seasoned runners like greed out for that 10th key item as opposed to someone who's grinding at 8. And the 8 key item will win the race because they took the less optimal grind, but were taking fights faster.
Yeah, and especially where this Peninsula Power is right here too. You can pop out, get a couple. You're using 2-3 minutes. It just, unfortunately, Possum is through the Rubicante.
Yeah,
and there's the music.
I got that bit backwards, but that is go mode for Possumorpheus once he gets through that.
That is 10 key items. There's sirens in Ebling Cave, and we have a pass chat. We are not going to the moon tonight.
Moon confirmed haunted. Actually, no, Moon confirmed vaunted right now because we could still have something delicious there in the sense of the Legend Sword. But yeah, as of right now, Moon has nothing. This is where you crack your eggs. You're at your 10 key items. You have exactly 2 fights left to do after these eggs. You have whatever's at the heart, and then you have Zeromas. So this is where you go full on grind now. And with the Dragoon Spear, with that cane is just going to be tapping those eggs really quick. Yeah, look at that, 68k getting through very quick.
Yeah, this is going to be a quick grind. Doesn't have any casters. Is just going to get Edge, Cane, up to a point where they can survive some big bangs, and then we're going to be doing some music and coming right out of that Cave Magnus and going right into the Z fight.
I think it's going to be a little bit more to that because the big thing is you're not looking at them surviving because they'll start surviving very soon. It was in Mysidia. That's where those silk webs were. I do. But your big problem is now at the very bottom of Possumorpheus' batting order. That Porum. This is where she is actually this is where she gets outshined by the Rosa that we know is behind package, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Porum's HP growth is very low. Her spell growth is very late. She needs to be 52 before she gets Cure 4, and I think around that level is when she starts seeing the 2k HP mark, which is what you kind of need to be able to deal with this fight. Because it's not you want her to survive. She's going to be your main way, unless you're nerfing every big bang.
Yeah, I think it's actually 48 for Cure 4, and it's 52 for white.
You're correct.
Yeah, but even still, around 48, she's only going to be around 1600. So that ribbon that Possum has and a protect ring that he has are probably going to get slapped on her real quick to try and get her magic defense a whole lot higher.
And thank you to Pancrez in chat, 48 Cure 4, 52 for white, and 55-ish for 2k HP. Yeah, with if he had picked up that Lunar Staff, unfortunately he missed out on that. That's where you'd be getting like all the HP or all the magic defense you need to make those big bang rolls go lower. I also think that board has actually gone the AI script and made it so that Porum dodges more big bang rolls, because I swear,
I agree with
equipment rolls, I've seen her take less big bang damage than Rosa, and I've seen her take some really high hits.
Confirm that theory is probably true.
Look, let me take off my my adamant foil hat real quick, and let's get back into let's get back into this race. So Sorbius has been doing a little bit of a shopping spree, most likely looking for those drain spears, which I believe were in Eblin Cave.
They were.
Yeah, so that's what he's been looking for, just to find some dart fodder so he doesn't attack with edge, just to be doing a very similar strategy to what Possumorpheus is, except it's going to be a one-man show in DPS.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe he was looking for drain spears or ice claws as well, because he's looting as well.
Yeah, this is a man who's looking like, I need to get through these fights, and I agree. The Feymar, this is not a nice fight. Like, Possumorpheus made that fight look fairly easy and very clinical, but again, these are runners who have done these fights a lot, and the curveballs are out there, and racing nerves really, really get to you as well. Like, you think, oh man, we're an hour and a half in. Where's my opponent? Are they going to get done soon? Have they gotten through this? Oh, have they made an easier choice? And then you can also go back to, was the call of keeping this character correct? Because the big thing is, we have C-Buy on. Once you dismiss a character, they're not sitting in the Tower of Wishes. No, they're in the Lali-Ho lounge right now. They're having themselves a nice bit of Dwarven brew down with anybody else who's not appearing in this seed. So you decide, like, was keeping this character really worth it? Was getting rid of this character really worth it? It's a whole lot of choices throughout the seed that is like, was this the right call? All calls are correct. It's just how you have to work with it afterwards.
Yeah, and those of you in chat who are sitting there asking yourself, where is the Lali-Ho lounge? Yes. That's where.
If you have to ask, you're not a member. But Possumorpheus, done with his grind, is going to be doing our check of the music, while Sorbius is going to make another charge at this Rubicante. And in all honesty, what you need to be doing is you guys need to give a huge follow to these guys. Sorbius and Possumorpheus putting out a great showing of skill, showing of resilience, and just showing of how a seed as not really rude, but more just like cheeky rude, I guess, in a little sense, to lead you on this. Oh, we have this merry open world, and it's like, get to Rubicante.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, this seed is definitely something that I'm glad I'm not racing it for sure.
Oh, 100%. I love being up here commentating on this or rolling this kind of hot garbage as opposed to running it.
Yep, has the party set up. Look at those. Look at that HP. Gets the kamikaze off.
That is low HP on that Porum, though. 1700. That is very risky if you're not nerfing.
And I believe it's time for us to be a little quiet, Dathis, as we are going to get some randomized heart music.
But why?
But
why, though? That is a nice and quick demist out there. So, sir, not appearing behind the package, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe go check to see what's hiding there. Wow! Rubicante super required.
What is this seed? All 5 objectives, no moon.
So that is a Darkness Crystal chilling on Demist right now. We know what's there. Sorry, Darkness Crystal, Luca, or Rat Tail. One of 3 key items are there.
And we will probably see which one once we hit the credits.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect Possum, because right now you see that, and you're just like, run, baby, run. That is one heck of a... that is a run right there.
Sorbius, meanwhile, definitely having a much better time with this Rubicante fight.
Absolutely. Doing power with the Yangs here, tossing out some hits every once in a while, getting those Cure 3s with Porum. The extra levels definitely adding up. It's, 2400 gets through, as a matter of fact. That's a great hit, great shot. Gonna be getting that Twin Harp, is gonna be hot on Possum's heels. Gonna be doing some eggs, as we have Possumorpheus gonna be heading into the other lounge that we have here in Free Enterprise.
Has the pass, shows him, wall opens up, and I believe we probably need to be asking ourselves a quick question here, Dathis. Do you want to explain what I'm talking about?
Where's my vanilla ice cream?
It very well could happen. There's 520 chances of it to be vanilla.
526, as a matter of fact.
Aha!
So, in chat, you may see a wonderful name with a green sword beside it called Scala Kitty. That is the lovely and wonderful art wizard dev that we have here that has produced most of the sprites, some also done by Board AI himself, the creator of this rando, and they are all in this lovely pool of sprites that are changed over every seed, because as we see, everything's randomized. It's even the music. And Zoromus is no different. He has one of many seeds that we're going to be going through, and the reason why there are some Z flags out, not because we're all tired, no, it's still kind of early, but we're going to ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Before the patch, I was always hoping for Flip Table Miss, but, after the patch, there is one I'm hoping for. I'm not going to say what it is, but I hope it shows up someday.
Oh man, I'm hoping. So there are a couple of people on the Restream team who won a raffle to have some sprites put into the pool. Alicel and myself, I know, are two of them that got in. I've not
I've
seen anyone's. I am really wanting to see mine on stream.
uh, myself and Sheep Launcher are the other two.
Somebody called Atara. It's not quite Ultrosmus, but Krakenmus is
Pretty
close second. So Kraken, one of the bosses from Final Fantasy One, is a pretty interesting one to see here. Isn't going to be weak to lightning. Skip over those light little arrows. But we're going to see a number of quick hits from these fights. Kane doing some good damage, and we're going to have Trizergers come out here.
Yeah, Sid rocking a bow here, getting 2,000 damage and chipping in as well. And with a vampire for the nerf.
See, that's very heads up. Not only are you putting in a little extra damage, but you're also getting that nerf out. And are we going to get an elixir heal onto that Kane? Or sorry, into that edge? Oh no, he changes his mind. Don't blame him. 1,200 HP is more than enough to survive a nerf Big Bang. Also, wow, 4,300 coming out from Sid. That is an arrow to the squid face.
Kraken has all those arms, can't dodge all the arrows though.
Absolutely not. Yeah, the DPS are putting out some good damage. They're putting out combined Crystal Sword Cecil level. Actually, oh, that's a low roll. I was going to say Sid himself is putting out that number. Never mind. Caster cursed.
First Big Bang comes out though. Rydia's going to go down. Porum's going to live and get the party back up.
Absolutely. The only way that this goes, quote, south now is if we get a counter nuke onto that Porum and it rolls over 1,700. Or we get an immediate nuke into counter nuke into Big Bang, which probably should not happen, knock on wood. But that's the only worst case scenario. This is now just going to be fairly straightforward. 3 Berserkers are going to be shooting arrows, stabbing with swords, and poking with spears. And we have Sorbius, who has also done his grind, and he's going to be hot on the heels to find out some Legend of Zelda music too.
Yeah, as the hits keep coming though, we're getting the party topped off. Probably gonna eat. I don't know if Possum will try to nerf this Big Bang or not. Maybe to be safe to protect Porum a little bit.
Yeah, at this point, this is your Porum does not have the HP or the magic defenses to really survive a non-nerfed Big Bang safely. She still can, because again, I find that she dodges way more than Rosa does, but you don't want to try that luck when you're in the fight. You haven't seen the dot done. This is where you could possibly get it in beforehand. You just want to take it nice and slow, nerf the Big Bangs, hope that Porum doesn't eat it, and kind of just go from there.
Yeah, and Sorbius turns in Pigtail, gets the Messamoon. Probably, maybe you wish he had that a little earlier, but has it now, heading into Cave Magnus. Gonna be getting his crystal.
Absolutely. Counter nuke. Oh, on to Sid. That's the character you want to see take a nuke. One with all the HP. Oh no, half his HP is gone.
Oh no.
Oh no. Sorbius, going to be finding a magnetized cave, though, as we have Possumorpheus, again, just going through the motions, getting Big Bang, getting Cure 4. We're going to probably see the black hole, which is going to remove the Berserk from his characters, and may actually eat Sid's last arrow. That's going to depend on how fast it gets put down here, though.
Yep, it keeps the party up, keeps going. Like you said, the black hole would come. You're gonna have to try to either resurrect the party. Oh, there's rocks.
Just rocks instead. No. Wow, everybody but Sid dodging. You'll love to see it.
Well, Sid just took that nuke and stored it in his beard, so I mean, it had to come out some way.
There's the crack, there's the bang, there's the boom, there's the shake, there's the fall. Crack and miss, goes into the abyss. While we have the official time coming in, we're going to see if we're going to get Possumorpheus with an interview. We'll be advancing to 2-1. Very safe here. Sorbius instead, unfortunately, falls to 1-2. But again, put up a fantastic run. Is really hot on his heels as we're going to get our second little reprise of music.
And we're joined in the booth by Possumorpheus. GG's.
GG's, thank you.
First of all, want to say really good heads up play with that Edward on that evil wall. We actually forgot you didn't have the ribbons, so we saw you pull him out. We're like, what's happening? What's going on? We thought he was just straight up dodging. Very heads up to remember the fact that ribbon blocks that crush.
Yeah, it was kind of a perfect little storm there when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, this is free. I mean, air quotes free, because I didn't get any of the extra chip damage in early, so I couldn't have Evil Wall just kill itself. I had to pull Eddie out and then Zerk him for the last 1500, which was admittedly really awkward, but got through. And the Arty arrows actually helped quite a bit with that Sid.
Yeah, it was also a lot of low rolls from that evil wall too. We saw a lot of 1400s and very few 1800s.
Yeah, you'll want to go back and watch the VOD because Dathis and I are like, is he just dodging these like magically, or does he have a ribbon?
No, I had put the ribbon on him like 5-6 minutes into the game or something. I think when I went up to Hobbs, and I just happened to remember it when I got down to the evil. I'm like, oh yeah, I already have it on him from 50 minutes ago or 40 minutes, whatever it was. I was like, oh yeah, this will work. Don't need to even re-equip. We got this.
But that's why we never knew where you got it, because I don't even remember the first 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was a watery pass. Yeah. That was an adventure, though. That was turning back the time to 2018 reject percent for a while there.
Yeah, double Rydia, double Sid, and eventually a Porum.
That was an adventure. One that I would rather not go on again, to be totally honest. Yeah, that was tough. Glad to get the win, but not the easiest seed by any stretch.
Absolutely. So we see you have 61 treasures open. A very limited amount of looting. When you saw that Zot and you had both your Edge and then your Cane, what made you keep the Cane as opposed to binning him by comparison?
I had a White Spear.
That's the only answer I accept.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I had a White Spear for Cane. I had Masamura with Edge. I made sure to open up the inventory before picking up the characters to see like who would I pick up here. Do I know where Sirens are? I'll be at 10 key items at some point. Do I go with a Reflect team because I don't need gear, or if I find particular Zerkers who meet what I have in my inventory, do I go that route? And I found 2 Zerkers that went with the equipment I had, so that was good enough for me. Go with the Tri-Zerk and just try to get all the damage in as quick as possible. A little bit less grinding needed with Zerkers as well.
Indeed, you actually went in there with a Porum that I would personally consider under-leveled at that 1700 HP mark. Did you get nervous at all? Like maybe the counter nukes were going to be bad, or were you just completely confident in her?
The only point at which I got nervous was when I mistimed the nerf on the second Big Bang with the vampire. I knew that she would be topped off and unlikely to die at 1700. Her natural magic evade or magic defense is extremely high, and she was level 51-ish at the time anyway, I think. Like, she was very high level. Maybe even 52, because I think she might have had white. But 1700 HP on Porum with like a ribbon and a rune ring and a couple other pieces of gear is basically equivalent to like 2100 on a Rosa. It's a little misleading because of how much defense she gets. I'm not a Porum aficionado. I don't like Porum as a character. I'm very open about that.
Don't let Demi hear you say that.
Yeah, well, I know how to make her work in a pinch, and I know the threshold at which I'm comfortable with having her. And that was right about it. That's why I specifically bought 10 Sirens and not any more than that. Once I got the 10 key items, I knew that would be enough for the grind. And if I'm in Zeromus at that time, great. If I have to go to the moon, that's fine too. But I was going to do a big grind before going anywhere once I got the 10 key items.
Excellent. Now, let's talk about the leg in the room. That Rubicante that was forced and 100% required. With the team that you had, did you have any nervousness going into that? Were you thinking, man, maybe I should grind a little bit more? Or what was, when you saw that it was required after chasing down the tower key and the pan and it not panning out, what did you, how did you feel? What were you thinking at that point?
Wasn't really worried. I knew Drain Spears were available in Cave Eblin, and I had looked through the inventory and seen that I had a Blizzard Spear on Cane. The two of them carry that fight. Porum throws up blinks. Sid kind of acts as a de facto second chemist. And the fight is basically free. It just takes a little bit of time, which was the mantra of this entire seed, by the way. Everything was pretty free, but took a heck of a lot of time.
Yeah, and you went through a number of these fights really efficiently and really well. Sorbius did as well. His only roadblock was the leg, where you were able to get through it on the first time. Sorbius had a couple of wipes to that leg. But otherwise, you both ran a really well-run race and very efficient on your guys' boss fights.
Yes, Sorbius is a great player. I run on nearly a nightly basis with Sorbius doing kind of pseudo pickup races, so I'm very familiar with him and how good he is. So, was not taking this lightly, and I'm not surprised to hear that he also was very efficient in his checks.
Yeah, let's put it this way. He's 6 minutes behind you into the start of his Aromas fight, so yeah, he's very close to where you are. Speaking of boss checks and efficiency, you go to Baron Castle, you clear that out. What made you, instead of go do the hook route, why gamble on Baron Basement? You have seen every other free boss besides King Queen Evelyn. What made you do that gamble there?
With Battle Speed 3 and Blink and a couple of Bacchus wines, almost anything is free. Again, it just takes time. So even things like, if you run into a Pale Dim, if you run into an Ogopogo, if you run into D-Lunars, if you run into Kainazzo, they're all basically free. They just take time. It was just nice that it happened to be King Queen Evelyn. I always will peak that, or almost always, if I think I have a team that's remotely capable of beating it, which this team was.
And see, that's something that I personally myself didn't know, and that's really good. And that's why you're one of the runners who are at 2-1, and why you're up here showing off the skills on the big screen. So again, you are 1 hour, 44 minutes, 2 seconds. Great way of destroying the seed that was fairly rude with some bosses and very low power to begin with. Again, advancing that 2-1. What are your kind of thoughts, like, as an overall, like, we giving you like little bits and pieces and direct thoughts about the seed? What was your overall mentality during this, like, from start to finish?
Just that it was a slog. It just took a long time, and y'all have alluded to the fact that there just wasn't a lot of power. It was just slow. There wasn't really a lot of ways to speed it up. Getting Edge and Kane really accelerated things, obviously, but the first hour of the seed was just like, can I find someone that's not a reject? Basically, can I find not a dupe Iridia, not a dupe Edward, not another Porum or dupe Sid, or whatever the dupes were? It was like, can I find a character that I can put some of this gear on that I've found?
Not even any good summons for those Ridias either until you do Dwarf Castle. Like, there's nothing.
I mean, I think there was a Sylph in a shop, but at that point I had Virus, and I don't particularly need the healing, nor do I want to wait for the time. Just overall, it was one of those seeds where going fast is a struggle. You can get through it, but it's just going to be a matter of time.
All right, Karma, you got any other questions for our friend Possum?
No, just how you feeling going forward, and we're halfway through the Swiss. How you feeling being at 2-1?
I
just got to do it again, and I make brackets. That's the goal.
There we go. That's the attitude we like to see.
So happy where I'm at. It's always fun racing, especially fun racing against a competitor as good as Sorbius. But yeah, it's going to be a good time going forward, and I appreciate everyone on the Restream team making this happen. Thank you, Karma and Dathis doing comms. Thank you to Crimson Avix for rolling this wonderful experience, and thank you to Dijon Ketchup doing the tracking, and thank you to all the admins and everyone else who put this flag set together. It's phenomenal. I think it is the best one yet. Love the balance, love the kind of higher completion percentage. But thank you again for having me, y'all. And take care, stay healthy, stay blessed, and we'll catch you next time. GG Sorbius.
GG's Possum.
Yeah, GG's, and we look forward to seeing you here again.
Thank y'all.
Again, that was Possumorpheus, your winner tonight. Official time 1 hour, 44 minutes, 2 seconds, advancing to that 2-1. Going to be really excited to see if he can make the 3-1 run and you can make the tables, or if maybe we're going to have some other play-ins coming from him. It is possible. There is a lot of great runners starting to come to the top in the winning section. Meanwhile, as we've been going through this, Sorbius has been taking this same way that Possum took it. Nice and slow, very clinical, very just, again, by the books. You've got some hits coming out here from your bigger hits of Yang, Edge, and Sid. Porum tossing out those cures and nerfing the big bangs. And we are at rocks. Let's see what happens. Oh no! That's why do I talk?
12,000 HP left. Just needs to get through it, and there's the boom.
There's the crack boom shake. That's
get your GGs in chat.
Absolutely nice time. We'll get the official time up on stream. But yeah, let's see if we can get an interview in from Sorbius as well. But yeah, very well done. GG's to him. Run.
I mean, and there's a 11-minute difference, but you would not believe that with how this race has ran. These two ran a fantastic race. Like I said earlier, if you haven't done so, please give these runners a follow. They put on a good show for us tonight. It was a great one.
Absolutely. And then showcasing more parts of the flag as well. Like, we do see the memes always that Moon's haunted and such like that, but this is definitely proving through. We do have our finisher at 155.28, Sorbius, joining us. GG's, my friend.
GG.
GG's. That was a seed.
So I asked this near the end of asking Possumorpheus. I'm just going to jump right into you. Rubicante at Leviathan. How did you like that?
It was terrible. Possum and I have talked about this a lot, just about free enterprise. In a race, you kind of pick something that you're going to fade and hope that it's not required. I faded Ruby for a long time, hoping that was not required, and unfortunately...
I think 9 times out of 10, any runner at the time that you find that fades it, and Possum did the same thing.
Yeah, you both left that to the absolute last. He did the evil wall a little bit earlier, but that's because he had the ribbon from Watery Pass and just used Eddie strats because he still had him at the time. But yeah, that was just a seed that you need to go back and rewatch. You guys were neck and neck for a good majority of that seed. You passing it back and forth. It was fantastic. So let's go back to the beginning of this seed. We have ourselves a Sid and we have ourselves an Edward, and the only characters we find are Rydias. How do you feel about your overworld power?
I mean, Edward had a dancing dagger, so that's always good. And Sid is very strong, so I felt actually pretty good about it once I saw the dancing dagger on Eddie. Rydia is just going to be dead weight. That didn't really factor into how excited I was or not about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, couldn't find really any good summons. Had the free summon on Hobbs being Asura.
Yep.
Nothing really Black Mage-esque, early on to make that Rydia really kind of useful, and you chose to use her as an anchor the entire time. And so the early hook route was definitely a defining moment of your run. What made you choose to make that dive, seeing that purple robe and that Porum, instead of maybe backing out, checking ordeals in the barren basement as well? You had available when you made that dive.
So Mylon and friends there is not especially scary. So I knew I could get through that if that's what it was. And I had a bow and I'd found some white arrows. So I felt pretty okay back rowing Sid and giving him those to get through Mylon C if that's what it was. Which it ended up being, which was great because I had Berserk and then Sid when I got there. The only obvious question mark though is, who's in the King Queen spot?
Yeah, and I said on stream, Mom Bomb's my least favorite boss in this game. Hands down. Doesn't matter where Mom Bomb shows up.
And then, surprise, here's an additional 10k on top of that 6k you have to chew through in a boss that likes to punch. So you're face-to-face with that Mom Bomb. Keeping it safe for stream, what was your thoughts when you saw that Mom Bomb pop up?
My first thought was, well, at least the explosion isn't going to hurt. So I just need to get through it to the explosion phase as quickly as possible.
You handled it really well, and that's really one thing to all your boss fights. You handled really efficiently. You took care of them. You and Possum both. It was a very well-run race by both of you guys.
Thanks. I mean, I imagine our difference in time was largely my wiping to Ruby. I got a little flustered and didn't think to just leave initially and go get some more levels.
A little bit. It was also due to the fact that he kept the cane and he had the Blizzard Spear, plus he found the Drain Spears in Evelyn Cave. So those little bits there what made up the time on that Ruby. You are right, it was the Ruby fight that made the difference, but still, with what you had, you did a very fantastic job running through it. You should be very proud of how you handled it, though.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy with how that went.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the loss brings you to 1 and 2. You're not eliminated yet from this event. We still have another 3 weeks. You could, run the table, get these last 3 wins. How are you feeling? Is there anything you might be wanting to work on or change moving forward, or are you just going to keep playing your game and keep, going with what you know best?
That's a good question. Probably just keep practicing and keep trying to get more efficient at stuff. I know. For example, Possum is just a faster player than I am. So even if I had not wiped on Ruby, I think I still lost this race by a couple of minutes. So just watching this race back, especially, and trying to find those little tiny optimizations that he did that maybe I didn't or didn't know about, and trying to work that into how I play the game.
I do have a quick question though. When you saw Zot and you had your edge with Mirasame and I believe Ninja Sword you had at the time, and then you see Kane and you've got a white spear in your pocket, why did you ditch the Kane and not one of the Rydias or something along those lines? What made you ditch the Kane instead?
I still had some character checks outstanding. I didn't know who the Moon character was. I didn't know who the package character was. I hadn't checked it yet at that point. And I would have dropped that Kane in a heartbeat for a Cecil or another Edge or something like that. I don't think Kane does a lot of damage in the end game, specifically on Z, and I was kind of looking at my party thinking, all right, so Edge is doing all of my Zeromus damage right now. I'd rather keep Yang and keep this Sid who's doing a pretty good job, who's going to do about the same damage as Kane really with the gear that I had. It ended up mattering, of course, for Ruby, but hindsight is 2020.
Absolutely, but again, with the character options you had, you still did make a right call. If you found an Ice Claw, then Yang definitely would have been doing way better than Kane on that Ruby Conte fight. But again, with what you had, you still ran the rest of that seed very, very well. You put on a clinic in some of these fights. You just overall did fantastic, to be completely honest. So as me say that you were a little behind, but you should still be very proud of the showing that you set up here. You do move down to the 1 and 2. How do you feel going forward into your next races?
I haven't. It really depends on how the matches play out this week and who is in 1 and 2. The 1-1 bracket was pretty scary for this week, so if it's similar, then we'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can get to 2 and 2. Hopefully I can get another match that's pretty close or that I'm favored in. We'll have to see.
I know if I end up 1 and 2 this week, I'm going to be quite scared if I get paired up against you.
Thanks.
I'll try and rule you guys some vanilla. All right, but again, thank you again, Sorbius, for running. Very well done. And again, GG's on your finish.
Thanks. And thanks to all of you for putting this on. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you for volunteering to be restreamed. We can't do this without you. Putting on a good show for us, and that is definitely what you did tonight.
Again, that was Sorbius, our second place finisher at 1 hour 55 minutes. Going to be again advancing to the 1 and 2 brackets. Again, shoot a follow to our runners, Possumorpheus and Sorbius. They put on a fantastic run for you tonight, as well as the team that worked behind the scenes so that BK and I could just kind of chill and talk with you guys. We have Dijon Ketchup, who is our lovely tracker tonight. And then we have Crimson Avix, who has been putting on the show, making sure there are no fires aside from the ones that we see from Rubicante putting out there. As well as my co-commentator, Bad Karma, keeping me in line and pretending he's Baka Shinobi.
And you, Dathis, it's always a pleasure to work with you. And every time, it's been a great night, and hopefully everybody out there enjoyed it. But this is not the end of Free Enterprise, even if it is the end of the race here. We do have one more race going on over on the Free Enterprise channel. We have, I believe it's Denari versus Gaming with a Wraith. So we will be heading over there shortly. They just started, I believe, a little bit ago.
Indeed. So when we go over there, make sure you do not spoil the race that happened here. People like to watch back the VODs. But as for right now, what I'm going to say to you is rando on, Bad Karma.
Rando on, Dathis.
It's Free Enterprise. Rando on, excellent. While we head out to Free Enterprise. You guys have yourselves a fantastic night, and we'll see you in the next race.
Have a good night, everybody.